Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14. The material world as the great forest of enjoyment. Text 1. Sa hovacha sa esha dehatma maninam satvadi guna visesha vikalpita kushala samavahara vinirmita vividha dehavalibhir viyoga samyogadi anadi. Yeah, reading from text 1. Sahovacha sa esha dehatma maninam satvadi gunavishesha vikalpita kushala samavahara vinirmita vividha dehavalibhir viyoga samyogadi anadi samaranubhavasya dvara bhutena षड् इंद्रिय वर्गेण तस्मिन् दुर्गाद्वद् असुगमे अद्वन्यापतित ईश्वरस्य भगवतो विष्णोर्वशवर्तिन्या मायया जीवलोकोऽयं यथा वणिक्सार्थोऽर्थ परस्वदेह निष्पादित कर्मानुभव श्मशानवद् असिवतमायां संसाराटव्यम् संसाराटव्यां गतो नाद्यापि विफल बहु प्रतियोगे तत् तापपशमनीं हरि गुरुचरणारविन्द मधुकरानु पदवीम् अवरुन्धे. When King Parikshit asked Shukadev Goswami about the direct meaning of the material forest, Shukadev Goswami replied as follows. My dear king, a man belonging to the mercantile community, Vanik, is always interested in earning money. Sometimes he enters the forest to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Sometimes the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters this material world for some material profit. Gradually, he enters the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external energy under the control of Lord Vishnu. Thus, the living entity comes under the control of the external energy, Daivi Maya. Living independently and bewildered in the forest, he does not attain the association of devotees who are always engaged in the service of the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of bodies, one after the other, under the influence of material energy and impelled by the modes of material nature, sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. In this way, the conditioned soul goes sometimes to the heavenly planets, sometimes to the earthly planets, and sometimes to the lower planets and lower species. Thus, he suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. These sufferings and pains are sometimes mixed. Sometimes they are very severe and sometimes they are not. These bodily conditions are acquired due to the conditioned soul's mental speculation. He used his mind and five senses to acquire knowledge, and these bring about the different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy, Maya, the living entity suffers the miserable conditions of material existence. He is actually searching for relief, but he is generally baffled, although sometimes he is relieved after great difficulty. Struggling for existence in this way, he cannot get the shelter of pure devotees who are like bumblebees engaged in loving service at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. यस्याम् उहवा एते षड् इन्द्रियनामानः कर्मण दस्य वा एव ते तद् यथा पुरुषस्य धनं यत्किञ्चित् धर्मोपयुक्तं बहु कृच्छादिगतं साक्षात् परम पुरुषाराधन लक्षणोऽसौ धर्मस्तं तु सांपराय उदाहरन्ति तद्धर्मं तद्धर्म्यं धनं दर्शन स्पर्शन श्रवण स्वादनावग्राह्न संकल्प व्यवसाय गृह ग्रामोपभोगेन पुनातस्याजितात्मनो यथा सार्थस्य विलुम्पन्ति. In the forest of material existence, the uncontrolled senses are like plunderers. The conditioned souls may earn some money for the advancement of Krishna consciousness, but unfortunately, uncontrolled senses plunder his money through sense gratification. The senses are plunderers because they make one spend his money unnecessarily for seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, desiring, and willing. In this way, the conditioned soul is obliged to gratify his senses, and thus all his money is spent. This money is actually acquired for execution of religious principles, but it is taken away by the plundering senses. अथ च यत्र कौटुम्बिक दारापत्यादयो नाम्ना कर्मण वृकश्रगाल एवानिच्छतोऽपि कदर्यस्य कुटुम्बिन उरुणकवत् संरक्ष्यमाणं मिषतोऽपि हरन्ति. My dear king, family members in this material world go under the names of wife and children, but actually they behave like tigers and jackals. A herdsman tries to protect his sheep to the best of his ability, but the tigers and foxes take them away by force. Similarly, although a miserly man wants to guard his money very carefully, his family members take away all his assets forcibly, even though he is very vigilant. यथा हि अनुवस्तरं कृष्यमाणम् अपि अदग्धबीजं क्षेत्रं पुनरेवापनकाले गुल्मतृणवीरुभिर्गह्वरम् इव भवति एवम् एव ग्राश्रमः कर्मक्षेत्रम् यस्मिन् न हि कर्माणि उत्सीदन्ति यत् अयं काम करण्ड करण्ड एष आवसतः. Every year the plowman plows over his grain field, completely uprooting all weeds. Nonetheless, the seeds lie there and not being completely burned again come up with the plants sown in the field. Even after being plowed under, the weeds come up densely. Similarly, the Grahastha family life is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burned out, it grows up again and again. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless retains the aroma of camphor. As long as the seeds of desire are not destroyed, fruitive activities are not destroyed. तत्र गतो दंशमसक समापसदैर्मनुजैर्शलभ शकुन्त तस्कर मूषकादिभिरुपरुड्यमान बहिः प्राण क्वचित् परिवर्तमानोऽस्मिन् अविद्या कामकर्मभिरुपर उपरक्त मनसानुपपन्नार्थं नरलोकं गन्धर्वनगरम् उपपन्नम् इति मिथ्या दृष्टेरनुपश्यति. Sometimes the conditioned soul in household life, being attached to material wealth and possessions, is disturbed by gut fleas and mosquitoes, and sometimes locusts, birds of prey, and rats give him trouble. Nonetheless, he still wanders down the path of material existence. Due to ignorance, he becomes lusty and engages in fruitive activity. Because his mind is absorbed in these activities, he sees the material world as permanent. although it is temporary like a phantasmagoria, a house in the sky. तत्र च क्वचित् आतपोदक निभान् विषयान् उपधावति पानभोजन व्यवायादि व्यसन लोलुपः. Sometimes in this house in the sky, Gandharvapura, the conditioned soul drinks, eats, and has sex. Being overly attached, he chases after the objects of senses just as a deer chases a mirage in the desert. क्वचिच्चाशेष दोष निषदनं पुरीश विशेष तद्वर्णगुणनिर्मितमति सुवर्णम् उपादित्सति अग्निकामकातर इवोल्मुख पिशाचम्. Sometimes the living entity is interested in the yellow stool known as gold and runs after it. That gold is the source of material opulence and envy, and it can enable one to afford illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. Those whose minds are overcome by the mode of passion are attracted by the color of gold, just as a man suffering from cold in the forest runs after phosphorescent light in a marshy land, considering it to be fire. अतः कदाचिन्निवासपानीय द्रविणादि अनेकात्मोपजीवनाभिनिवेश एतस्यां संसारात्यव्यम् अव्याम् इतस्ततः परिधावति. Sometimes the conditioned soul is absorbed in finding residential quarters or apartments and getting a supply of water and riches to maintain his body. Absorbed in acquiring a variety of necessities, he forgets everything and perpetually runs around the forest of middle existence. Kvachitya vatyaupa sorry. क्वचित् च वात्योपम्यया प्रमदायोरोहम् आरोपितस्तत्कालरजसा रजनीभूत इवासादु मर्यादो रजस् वलाक्षोऽपि दिग्देवता अतिरजस् वलमतिर्न विजानाति. Sometimes, as if blinded by the dust of a whirlwind, the conditioned soul sees the beauty of the opposite sex, which is called pramada. Being thus bewildered, he is raised upon the lap of a woman, and at that time his good senses are overcome by the force of passion. He thus becomes almost blind with lusty desire and disobeys the rules and regulations governing sex life. He does not know that his disobedience is witnessed by different demigods, and he enjoys illicit sex in the dead of night, not seeing the future punishment awaiting him. क्वचित् सकृत् अवगत विषय वैथत्याः स्वयं पराभिध्यानेन विभ्रंसिता स्मृतिर्तयैव मरीचितोयप्रायां स्तान् एवाभिधावति. The conditioned soul sometimes personally appreciates the futility of sense enjoyment in the material world, and he sometimes considers material enjoyment to be full of miseries. However, due to his strong bodily conception, his memory is destroyed, and again he runs after material enjoyment, just as an animal runs after a mirage in the desert. क्वचित् झिल्ली स्वनवद् अतिपरुषरभसाटोपं प्रत्यक्षं परोक्षं वा रिपुराजकुल निर्भर्ति निर्भर्त्सितेनाति व्यतितकर्णमूला हृदयः. Sometimes the conditioned soul is very aggrieved by the chastisement of his enemies and government servants who use harsh words against him directly or indirectly. At the time, his heart and ears become very saddened. Such chastisement, such, ch- such chastisement, sorry, such chastisement may be compared to the sounds of owls and crickets. स यदा दुग्धपूर्वसुकृतस्तदा कारस्कर काकतुण्डादि अपुण्य ध्रुमलता विशोदपानवद् उभयार्थशून्य द्रविणां जीवनमृत्यान् स्वयं जीवन् Mriyamana Upadhavati. Due to his pious activities in previous lives, the conditioned soul attains material facilities in this life, but when they are finished, he takes shelter of wealth and riches which cannot help him in this life or the next. Because of this, he approaches the living dead who possesses these things. Such people are compared to impure trees, creepers, and poisonous wells. Hare Krishna. Yeah, this chapter has more verses and yeah, when Chada Bharat was instructing Maharaj Rahugana the science of self-realization, what it means is realizing that we are not this body, we are this soul. We are eternal. It's not that we have a birthday and a dead day. It's like only this is a change of body, but the truth is that we are eternal spirit souls. And of course, uh, with an allegory of forest of material existence, Maharaj, yeah, after hearing, he got his life perfection. He attained perfection, yeah, so to say, because that's what he actually was eager to get from visiting Kapila Muni, so that he can understand what is all this about the material world, material body, material senses, material sense objects, and all these things, but actually to understand what is spirit soul and how to attain perfection in life. After all these things, Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadeva Goswami, somehow I still didn't understand what is this all about. Maybe can you elaborate? So that's why we see in the words of Shukadeva Goswami. So there's whole lot of things that are here. Um, in fact, this chapter, um, yeah, has about 41 out of 45 shlokas. 41 have purports from Prabhupada. We can understand how much is mentioned here. Mm. So we can see from the first oh, did I mess up something? Um, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Somehow in my notes I have lost some info. But anyway, I think we are covering from the uh, beginning of this chapter, and yeah, so everything is so vividly explained already by Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah, sorry, by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And this in this the first one, the most important information in the verse. I mean, the verse one, Prabhupada mentions is Hari Guru Charana Aravinda Mukar Madhukara Anupadavim Anupadavim. Sorry. So first Madhukara. Madhukara is nectarian, yeah, and Hari Guru Charana Ravinda. So the Lord's and the Guru's Charana Ravinda, Madhukara, Anupadavim. Anupadavim means one way is can be understood as a designation. Anupadavim is kind of to be taking shelter. In this material world, the conditioned souls are baffled by their activities, and sometimes they are relieved after great difficulty. uh. So how can one can attain success is that what we can see. Guru, Hari Guru, Charanaravinda, Anupadavim. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. People struggling for existence in the forests or cities of the material world are not actually enjoying life. There is a small rat that went to the city and thought of, oh, so nice, I have a nice. And this rat, which was feeling great about living in the city, hmm, felt too great about itself. But you know what? There is a master with a stick, hmm, who is ready to beat if this is going to get onto the dining table to eat some piece of cheese. It has to do like a thief. Whereas this village rat, yeah, it had full freedom. There is anyway some people, yeah, the fields. Who is going to guard the fields? Yeah, so it's fully available. And the rat is, yeah, sometimes village people are more compassionate because they understand what is the struggle of life and they can understand the struggle of other beings. So they give, yeah, so for example, they feed the cows, they feed the buffaloes, they feed the cats, dogs, rats, snakes. I mean, yeah, so many. There are. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Hens, so much. If you see, the village countryside is like all about that. So. People struggling for existence in the forests or cities of middle world are not actually enjoying. So when we think that struggle for happiness, is it really happiness? Are we really getting real happiness? Uh, they are simply suffering different pains and pleasures, generally pains that are always inauspicious. Whatever we don't think is good, that's what we feel. They try to gain release from these pains, but they cannot do, they cannot due to ignorance. Hmm. Tad vijnanartham sagurum eva bigachet. So that's why tad vijnanartham. So one should get the knowledge. How? Not by speculation, not by um, mm, acquiring knowledge from different places. Hmm. One need to have a guru, and through guru, one is assimilating the essence. Gaining all knowledge is fine, but how to understand that all knowledge for myself, I can understand through the guidance of a guru, through the blessings of a guru. So it says, when the living entity is lost in the forest of material world in the struggle for existence, his first business is to find a bona fide guru who is always engaged at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After all, if he is at all eager to be relieved from struggle of existence, he must find a bona fide guru and take instructions at his lotus feet. In this way, he can get out of struggle. So this tells the purpose of guru. The purpose of guru in our life is not to maintain a social status. Logically, our mind is always saying, what's next, what's next, what's next. And in that, what's next, we are thinking, oh, yeah, okay, now I am into Krishna consciousness, which means chanting, which means programs, which means singing, which means dancing, and all these things. Okay, I think what is next? I think logically, I've seen people who do this after some time, they are looking for guru. Okay, I think then I should also have a guru. Otherwise, pe- in the peer level, people may think I'm backward. I'm not up to the mark. So let me have a guru. No, that's not the purpose. The purpose of guru is one should take instructions. Prabhupada mentions in this first, I think the first paragraph itself, in the first verse, he is repeating twice the need that one should first the business is to get a guru, and what is the purpose of first business to get guru is to get instructions at his feet. Since the material world is compared here into a forest, it may be argued that in Kali Yuga, modern civilization is mainly situated in cities. Hmm? A great city, however, is like a great forest. Prabhupada puts it this way, simple. Yeah, maybe in village, yeah, simple living. We know people live simple means okay, where the people go for work, where people come for after work. Yeah, everything. Oh, okay. Oh, you have guests who have come. So everything is more simple. Hmm. Struggle is there, no doubt, but it's very simple. But when the world, in the material world, when we come to the city life, oh, it's too complicated. You never know when to eat, when to sleep, where to sleep, why to sleep. Everything is a big question because in city life you are exposed to social networks, social media, then everyone is sending what is the mantra for happiness. Then one is telling do this, one is telling do this. You know what, come to our yoga center. If you come to a yoga center, then you have all peace. You know what, you can learn ashtabhujanga asana, you can learn tadasana, you can learn, come on, so many. Yeah, oh, come on. Yeah, why do we need all these things in cities? because we do not have facilities to train our muscles, our body keep fit like in villages. Um, Anyway, yeah, so here we can see there are many big cities all over the surface of the globe, and wherever one looks, he sees the struggle for existence going on 24 hours a day. People rush about in cars going 70 and 80 miles on an hour, constantly coming and going, and this sets the scene of great struggle for existence. We are thinking, oh, I mean, what is it? In Delhi, Delhi is one of the most polluted city. We are talking about the capital city. We are talking about that city which was ruled by Akbar, uh, that which was the capital not just after independence, but was the main capital. That if at all someone want to show that we are powerful, they would just try to occupy Delhi. Now, now we can see people can't even see if they are 10 meters or maybe 15 meters far from each other because of heavy pollution. That's the condition of city life. People rush about in the cars when they go in 50, 60, 70 or whatever with a lot of pollution. So one has to rise early in the morning and travel in that car at breakneck speed. This also happens. Yeah, I don't know if you have seen when I was a student going to college for my early studies. Um, yeah, I was um waiting for what do you call this? Shared autos or shared buses, shared vans or whatever. Yeah, the city never sleeps. Yeah, there are people who are coming, I think, and the, yeah, and these autos and all these things travel all the day and night. Uh, there's always danger of an accident, and one has to take great care. In his automobile, the living entity is full of anxiety, and his struggle is not at all auspicious. Yeah, just like when we say a bird is always scared when it may be attacked, and it always keeps trying, turning here and there its head, even while eating each grain. Hmm. Similarly, we are also running here and there. Thus, the struggle for existence continues, and the conditioned soul changes from one position to another. For a while, he is a child, but he has to become a boy. From a boy, he has to change to a youth, and from youth to a manhood and old age. Finally, when the body is no longer working or workable, he has to accept a new body in a different species. So, in this way, Prabhupada explains no one can get out of the struggle for existence, which is full of miseries. What are these miseries? There are three miseries due to body and soul. Yeah, body. Adi Daivika, Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika. These are three kleshas. Without accepting a pure devotee of Lord, one struggles. The material attempt changes from one position to another, and no one actually gains relief from suffering. The only resort is what? That's what? Hari Guru Charanara Vinda Anu. What is that? Anu Padavim. Anu Padavim. Hmm. So, and then after that, in the forest, the uncontrolled senses are plunderers. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Purva Janmarjita Vidya Purva Janmarjitam Dhanam Agre Davati. Hmm. By following the principles of Varnashrama Dharma, one attains a better position in material world. What does that mean? Better position means maybe one becomes more rich and more cultured and more safe by following this. One may be rich, learned, beautiful, and high born. One who has all these assets should know that they are all meant for advancement of Krishna consciousness. Unfortunately, when a person is misguided, he misuses his high position for sense gratification. So, human form is already a very high position. Just imagine that you are given access card um, to a five-star hotel. Hmm. Of course, after giving access, it doesn't mean that okay, now you can do whatever you want. If you start stealing things from there, yeah, you're caught, you're punished. You are given access. So similarly, we are given access to this material world, but if we start plundering through our own senses, then what is happening? Therefore, the uncontrolled senses are considered plunderers. The good position one attains by executing religious principles is wasted as the plundering senses take it away. Hmm. One should understand that the wealth and opportunity one gets in material world should not be squandered in sense gratification. I don't know. Yesterday, Aditya Prabhu, you were asking. So, what about what is enough? Sorry. Yesterday, when we were discussing, okay, after all, when we are responsible, yeah, we are responsible children to our parents, we are responsible um, family members to our family, we are responsible citizens to our nation. So all these responsibilities are there. So we have to earn to maintain the to fulfill the responsibilities, right? So here he says what I mean. Hmm, in spite of acquiring all the good facilities and qualifications and positions, if one does not use whatever he earns in the service of Krishna consciousness or in service of the Lord, then it's all waste. One should practice a little austerity and not spend money on anything other than regulative life of devotional service. The senses demand that one see beautiful things, therefore, money should be spent for decorating the deity in the temple. Similarly, the tongue has to taste good food, which should be bought and offered to the deity. The nose can be utilized in smelling the flowers offered to the deity, and hearing can be utilized by listening to the vibration of Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, the senses can be regulated and utilized to advance in Krishna consciousness. Thus, a good position might not be spoiled by material sense gratification, hmm, like sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Hmm. In these ways, the plundering senses take away all assets that conditioned soul has acquired with great difficulty. And saying, hmm, and that's why Shukadeva Goswami is telling, family members in this material world go under the name of wife and children, but actually they behave like tigers and jackals. Of course, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions दिन का दखिनी रात का बाखिनी palak palak lahu huse. I don't know. I never heard. Maybe someone would have heard this. During the daytime, the wife is compared to a witch, and at the nighttime, she is compared to a tigress. Her only business is sucking the blood of her husband both day and night. Anyway, this goes further to explain, but we should understand, yeah, that here we are hearing to the conversation of a king who is already left everything, and we are hearing to the instructions through Paramahamsa, like yeah, Shukadeva Goswami. Hmm. So what we should understand is okay, um, but does it mean that okay, should we start uh, seeing a wife or children as obstacles in our devotional life? Yeah, we can see that in fact our devotional life, yeah, maybe we may have started late, or we may be very active and performing devotional service, but we can see that because of our intellect hat, maybe we are not able to perform devotional service like a female, yeah, feminine personalities. Yeah. So in that way, we can see wife is actually more advanced in devotional service than husband. Maybe he might be doing so much, but yes, with along with the responsibilities of household and to take care of devotional life is even higher in terms of austerities. Yeah. And this means, yeah, when we are talking about this verse, which is mentioning that, okay, yeah, household life is dangerous, it is equally dangerous for male and female. A female who is advancing in devotional service, male is an obstacle as an attraction. And similarly, for a male who is advancing, female can be an obstacle in advancement. So, but in Grihastha life, where Krishna is in the center, yeah, that's why we see all in the previous purport Prabhupada is mentioning that one can use the mouth, one can use the ears, one can use the mouth, ears, eyes in the service of the Lord together. There is nothing like an obstruction. And that's why we see, in fact, there are so many Grihastha devotees. They are um, not finding Grihastha life as an obstacle. Mm. They understand that, okay, it's so nice that even till the last breath of one's life, there is always someone, a devotee, who is always there, who can give shelter and through whom one can attain ultimate goal. In fact, uh, it's only like, okay, why are we then talking about a retirement after 50 years, 55 years, and all these things? Yeah, yeah, when we are talking, yeah, we are talking still about from a grihastha to vanaprastha ashram. When one is really in the vanaprastha ashram, it doesn't really matter. One is why? Because both of them has only one focus to engage in the service of the Lord. It's not about enjoying oneself or each other, or exploiting each other, or uh, so the focus would be more of serving the Lord. And for that matter, both are already leading a sannyas life, a detached life. Sannyas means vairagya, uh, to be detached with the world and to be attached to Krishna. And that way they serve mutual um, purposes as best friends. Yeah. So the here anyway. So and then going forward, every yeah. Yeah, in the verse 4, every year the plowman plows over his grain field. When he's doing this, he's removing all the weeds. But again, what is happening? Because the seeds, when removing, are still on the soil, when it rains, and again the seeds start coming, the weeds will come. You may put your own field of, yeah, whatever, both will be there. Similarly, the Grahastha ashram is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burned out, it draws up, it grows up again and again. Yeah, one of the reason there is heavy pollution in the villages of yeah, where in and around Mathura, Vrindavan or Delhi is because they just simply burn all after the crop. Yeah, they just burn so that everything is burnt. Yeah, in fact, I don't know if you have seen sugarcane. After the sugarcane is cut, all those things are burned so that yeah, they leave it the land like that, and after next crop comes, they'll again sow. So yeah, purpose means unless one's desires are completely transferred to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the desire for family life continues even after one has taken sannyas. Sometimes in our society, ISKCON, a person out of sentiment may take sannyas, but because his desires are not burnt, this is we are telling about in ISKCON, burnt um, completely, he again takes to family life, even at the risk of losing his prestige and disgracing his good name. These strong desires can be burnt out completely when one fully engages in the service of the Lord in devotional service. It's very, very risky, very, very dangerous. Yeah. It's just if one becomes a grihastha and then vanaprastha and sannyas, oh, just so nice because, oh, after 50 years one should retire, let me take vanaprastha ashram. After 60, one should take sannyas. Oh, let me take sannyas. No, the desires have to be transferred into devotional desires, which means nothing for self, but all for the self, for the pleasing of Lord. Okay, and then yes. And sometimes the conditioned soul in household life, being attached to material wealth and possessions, is disturbed by gadflies and mosquitoes. And sometimes lacos. Lacos, I don't know. Does anyone know what is that? Birds of prey and rats give him trouble. Hmm? Mentions in the purport, Narottam Das Thakur. Ahankare matta hana nitaya pada pasariya. Asatyera satyakari mani. Is saying due to forgetting the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda and being puffed up by material possession, wealth, and opulence, one thinks the false, temporary material world to be an actual fact. This is material disease. Asatyere, not truth. The living entity is eternal and blissful, but despite miserable material conditions, he thinks the material world to be real and factual due to his ignorance. That's his condition. And because of that, yeah, we are suffering and suffering. So the solution is to take up to Krishna consciousness more seriously and more intensely practice so that we can be saved. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll continue from sixth verse with perfects. And yeah, this chapter has so much, we may go a little slow. What is today? Wednesday. I think 2 days we have. Let's see. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Uh, I got the answer. I mean, kind of like to the question I had yesterday about the accumulation of wealth, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Yes. Hmm. What?
Also,
Yeah. What is the
sorry,
answer? What is the answer you got?
uh, whatever assets you get are because of previous karma, pious karma. So you should have the intelligence to use whatever you get in the practice of your devotional life.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
Like I went to Radha Desh festival. We used the money to rent a car and go, and
Mm-hmm.
so I guess we use whatever we have in in that way instead of using it. I could have gone to a disco club or nightclub, but instead went to Radha Desh. So it was amazing. The festival was just beyond words.
Very nice.
Also, Prabhu, um, I wanted to ask about Grihastha life. Um, Basically, the husband and wife are supposed to engage together in the service of the Lord. But and it's and the purport says that strong desires are burned out completely when one fully engages in the service of the Lord in devotional life. So how does this apply in Grihastha life? Is Grihastha life supposed to be a like a preparation for the following Vanaprastha and Sannyas? Is it like
Mm, okay. So, what is the role of Grihastha life? Is that to bring Krishna conscious progeny to the world. Yep. This is one goal. The other goal is that in Grihastha life, you're having the privilege to work. Yeah. So, yeah, that's why Goraksha and Vanidya, economic development and cow protection. For example, when we talk, or if we are talking about Brahmanas, in every we can see that the role of Grihasthas is to take care of or support education of brahmacharis, to support the preaching of sannyasis, to support the interests of vanaprasthas, which means the role of grihasthas is basically the role of sacrifice. Yeah, one may think that grihastha is all about sense enjoyment. We can do whatever we want, and when we are really tired, to retire. Hmm? And then we can do like that. So it doesn't work. Hmm? The real purpose of grihastha ashrama is that, yes, okay, because one may have interest with the opposite sex, uh, and that's fine. There is there is a reason for that. Usually, the reason is for bringing progeny which are favorable so that they can practice Krishna consciousness properly. Of course, if one forgets that main essence and forget the purpose of this ashrama in the whole society is, and then what happens if sannyas come to our home? Sometimes I've seen some people have, what do you call this? What is it called? Dog inside, right? Have you seen this board?
A dog inside.
What do you call this? People, na?
Dog eat dog world.
Beware of dogs.
Yeah, beware of dogs. I mean, with some crazy ways, they also write like there is a
Dog eat
dog
dog.
inside, dog
Oh,
inside.
sorry.
Yeah. So just that, okay, people get scared not to get inside, right? So I don't know who is the dog. Is it the grihastha who is inside? Is the dog or the real dog? We don't know. But anyway, the point is that if one is more thinking about for his own, the purpose of the house is I can have nice facilities, I can have nice uh, for myself. And when I have seen sometimes when the brahmanas come, yeah, even these times people sometimes we see brahmanas who come and they are ready to recite Vedas and bless the grihasthas. In fact, that was what the purpose was, but the grihasthas have no time. Huh? They say, hey, go to the next door, not, don't come and disturb me. Hmm? I'm very busy. And what is the busy? One may have been seeing like 3,821 episode of some daily operas, or I don't know what it called, soap operas, and don't have time to attend the main guests. So Grahastha life somehow becomes like, okay, how much should I save for my own self? Oh, I can't give charities because if I give charity, oh, if luck favors, I may live for 70 years, 80 years. Oh, I may live even 90 years. So I need to have lot of money. I don't want to be a beggar like this beggar who is coming and asking. I want to save money for my future. And that's why one becomes a kripana. Yeah, a grihastha should be not a kripana. He should be wise to use that whatever he can use that in the charity. So I mean, I don't know what you were asking. I think, yeah, the purpose of, I mean, Krishna is saying uh, that, um, yeah, one if one takes up this role of a grihastha life, then yeah, the purpose is to beget proper Krishna conscious children so that they get the opportunity to go back to Godhead, and not only that, take the life of sacrifices, sacrificing one's own self, and that is the purification, that is the austerity that one gets in the grihastha life and attain success.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Any other questions or thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mm-hmm. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for explaining this. Yeah, your comparison of this treacherous forest, Chadabharat is explaining to King Rahugana with the big city life is very relevant.
Mm.
And I mean, we know that this for material individuals, these big city lives comes with big problems, but they still want to enjoy this big city life's facilities and all these material gains, etc.
Mm.
From this, I mean, I mean, draw some relevance when in the previous chapter you described when a similar kind of allegory. I mean, allegory. Narad Muni was telling the story to King Achinnavarhi
Mm.
of Puranjana's story. So he was also attracted to the same kind of. It was not a forest, but it is a city with great opulences, with 9 gates.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Even in that also, you remember, of course, the city of nine gates is the body, but where is it going? It's also going to the forest. There is a whole
yes,
discussion about the forest.
yeah.
Means all these desires, all this sense gratification
Mm,
are, yeah, I would say wild. We become very wild in our desires. We
correct.
become wild animals. And where are the wild animals? In the forest.
Mm. So in Bhagavata, every steps it is reminding and bewailing us about the dangers of this material life. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why Prabhupada all we wanted that every day we hear to Bhagavatam, that every day we need this alarm, right? Just like how we have alarm to wake up. Yeah, of course, whatever we do is a snoozing, but we need these alarms and we can't snooze these alarms, yeah, because just a moment of inattentiveness, then we are trapped for life.
Yeah, problem with fallen soul like me, like we are not feeling this urgency of getting out of this.
Yeah, I think Krishna anyway arranges urgency, right? So we don't feel, but it will. Yeah, just like once there was a student, devotee who came from Bangladesh. Yeah, I think some of you may already know him, Shantarup Gauranga Prabhu. And before that, he was Shawan. He came from his engineering college. He came to Dortmund TU, Technical University, and then where he was studying initial first 1 month, 2 months. The great fortune is that he came to Simhachalam and then he got the opportunity to meet His Holiness Kadamakanan Maharaj. And it was Simhachalam, and and then he was asking Maharaj, I'm coming from Bangladesh, and in Bangladesh, we remember the Lord so intensely we keep praying to Narsingadev because we don't know. Yeah, there is a very likelihood of accidents. Yeah, just if you walk inattentively, then a car may come or a bull may come or whatever. You may fall into a ditch or whatever. So it's very risky. So that's why devotees always keep praying to Lord Nrsingadev for protection. But in the European world, yeah, we don't have so much. So and that's why we don't pray to Lord. Can you tell how to remember the Lord? And Maharaj said that, yeah, maybe in India you see dangers. Here in the Western world you don't see, but the dangers are always there.
Mm.
Yeah. So that makes us to be vigilant. Huh? If you don't see, doesn't mean it's not there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because this is the truth. Yeah. Yeah. We are reading from Bhagavatam. The truth is, yeah, there's always this kind of material influences, Rajogun, Tamogun, and we Western worlds. You can say, oh, no, 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 come on. These people are very, what do you call, honest, noble, straight, and all these things. Yes. But what are they doing is also they are enjoying grossly. What is the use of being good man but enjoying bad? Hmm?
Yes, Raj.
Yeah, that's the reality.
Yep.
But when you
Thank
are
you,
bringing
Krishna.
up this, I wanted to say something, but I mean you brought this point. It's very nice. I wanted to appreciate that, and in that context, I wanted to share something, but I forgot. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, so that's why we are taking shelter of Bhagavatam. Yeah, the more and
Yeah.
more we take shelter of Bhagavatam, the more and more, yeah, we are protected.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice point. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm not able to. I mean, today, sorry for late start. I'm not able to finish early. Also, let's see. We should. I mean, I'll try to. Yeah, close 45 minutes so that it's not too long. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaura Premanand. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.